Labeling your children as conservative children, it's just like, what's the point? To get likes and views, that's the point. I get it. Oh, this one's frustrating. This one is. They're not operating from a place of logic because their prefrontal cortex is not grown together. They're behaving like this because they can clearly see that it pleases their father, and kids want to please their parents. So they're not able to have a nuanced understanding of the things that they're saying. They're just doing it because they know it makes their dad happy. That is so exploitative. Hey babies, welcome back to my channel. I'm David, you're David, we're all David, and today on Dismantling Hate, we are going to look at an Instagram profile called My GSD Nation. So this profile is made by a man named Matt Morstead, and it says, Patriots on a Mission. Programming Lions podcast, started by a father and his kids, speaking truth, productive habits, and empowering youth. It almost rhymed. Now, I came across this profile very organically this morning while I was enjoying my morning cup of Coca-Cola, and I'm ready to talk about it. Let's get into it. And it is walking the line of freedom of speech. You know what? If we're gonna be out here and we're gonna be vulnerable on this channel here together, you and me, right now, right here, yeah. We should really be talking about that because that's harmful. All right, I'm ready. Are you ready? It's okay if you're not. We'll take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay because we're gonna do it together. Roll the transphobia. Okay, so we're gonna start at the top and work our way down and see how long we last. Now, what caught my attention here is that, actually, I'm not even gonna tell you. Let's watch the first reel and then we'll talk about it.
I'm a conservative kid. Of course I use the bathroom based on how I was born. I'm a conservative kid. Of course I know that the national debt and inflation is stealing our future. I'm a conservative kid. Of course I know that we are a constitutional republic and not a mob-ruled democracy. I'm a conservative kid. Of course I believe that when you take out a loan, you should pay it back. I'm a conservative kid. Of course I know that we should be giving people a hand up instead of a hand out. I'm a conservative kid. I think that crime should be, illegal?
Well, there's a few, people talk about indoctrination in the queer community, and I don't know what this is, if not that. Something that's come to light recently is the unethical nature of family vlogging and including your children in your content. I think it's something that is very problematic for kids. Kids like this should not be on social media. That's my opinion. I don't know. I don't think kids should be part of your social media platform. I just don't. I don't think it's ethical. I don't think kids need to be doing that. And it's not that kids shouldn't be creative. Kids can be creative and make content and be funny and comedic. And yeah, some of the funniest people I've ever met have been kids because they haven't been stifled by the weight of capitalism. Anyway, there's a lot of problems with this because I think more people are more likely to stop and watch content if it is kids. I don't know. There's lots of content out here about the nefarious side of content that is made not really by kids, because you're not telling me this 10 or 11-year-old not even doesn't understand the things that he's saying, but understands the weight of content creation. Personally, to me, it seems slimy to be incorporating your kids into your content like this because you're effectively using them in order to get likes and views. And as a content creator, hey, I do things to get likes and views. It can be argued that that's a really big point of content creation, but I just don't like when kids are being used outside of this idea of, I'm a conservative kid. That hits the ear wrong. Okay, let's keep going.
So for every 10 people who are putting he and him in their electronic JP Morgan email signatures, there's one person who's like, no, I'm not doing that. Sorry, I don't want to fight, but I'm not doing that. It's a betrayal of what I think is true. It's a betrayal of my conscience, of my faith, of my sense of myself, of my dignity as a human being, of my autonomy. I am not a slave. I am a free citizen, and I'm not doing that. And there's nothing you can do to me to make me do it. And I hope it won't come to that. But if it does come to that, here I am. Here I am. So for every...
Here I am! Okay, first off, relating using pronouns to slavery is absolutely asinine and incredibly dismissive to people who have actually had those experiences, because you being asked or even forced to put your pronouns in your JP Morgan's email signature, like, is that really so dehumanizing to you that you need to use a part of the English language to refer to yourself? Like, do we not, can we, first of all, like, can we get a grip? Can we have a grip on reality? Is it really that deep? No. What always kills me, like, music makes such a big difference in content too, and it usually will elicit more of a feeling than just the sound of somebody talking. That's why I use music in the intros and the outros of my videos and not in the middle, like playing this sad solemn, like, bow, bow, like, I'm fighting for things that are important, because saying he, him is just so bad and hurtful. And like, to who? To who, Mary? Okay.
This argument that we blacks must be made equal and you have to open up the doors and let us in, never mind that our test scores are not as great, is pathetic. It's a surrender of dignity. You will not be equal at the end of that argument, even if you get what you ask for. There's no substitute for earning the respect of your peers. If they grant it to you out of guilt or pity, they have just reduced you, not elevated you.
Now, I'm a translucent Anglo-Saxon folk out here on this day, so I haven't experienced racism. I don't. And there are a lot of amazing creators everywhere, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, that talk about these things at length. Something does feel a little bit problematic here to me, but I don't have the life experience in order to speak to it specifically, I think, in the nuanced way that is required when it comes to conversations like these. I really don't know what conclusion to come to at the end of this video, but what I fear is that this could be used to perpetuate racism. I'm not 100% sure how, but if a white racist, like, okay, so let's just say a white racist person is watching this and is going, yeah, which I think is the intent of this, right? Is for people to watch it and be like, yeah, it just seems a little bit dangerous to me. I'm not 100% sure how. So we're going to move on.
What is something weird about conservatives?
There is almost a cultish vibe, I feel. The way they operate within themselves, they refuse to listen to outside people, you know, they're refusing to learn, essentially.
Yeah, so we'll just keep raising conservative kids then.
Ugh.
What is something...
Ooh, the mouth sounds. I really hated that. I don't know. I feel like they might have targeted this individual because by their standard, they might have looked the most outlandish, like the green hair and the makeup. And yeah, that face is a jump scare. I really... No, conservative kids, like, that's crazy. Okay.
In Maui.
What is something...
No.
So, the city in Maui just burned down, and we sent them all $700. Yet, across the world, Ukraine, we gave them $200 billion. Make it make sense. So...
You are 12 years old, and of course this isn't like... This kid has been manipulated and is being fed this information in order... Like, this is a script, right? Like, somebody wrote this, and this isn't just this kid, like, talking off the cuff and being like, yeah, let's make a video, and I'm just gonna say whatever comes to mind. No, this kid has been fed this information, and then they're relaying it for the purposes of content. So I'm of the opinion that this child doesn't even necessarily understand what he's saying, but he's just saying it because dad's standing in front of me with the camera and he wrote down this script, right? That's gross. That's gross. And that's taking advantage of kids in order to get more likes and views. Because if somebody's watching this and they might be thinking, wow, like, if this 11-year-old understands it, then why can't I understand it? They must be right. But no, that's using this child in order to get something out of this. And they're effectively probably getting nothing from the deal. And, oh, I hate this so much.
Burned down.
You are a Jocko Fuel athlete, and we're big Jocko Fuel fans. In fact, speaking of Jocko, your home gym, you have the Discipline Equals Freedom flag up. I love that. What does discipline equals freedom mean to you?
I think it's a mantra for life. To me, it just means that the more you practice discipline and instill discipline into your daily life and your habits, from sleep to nutrition to training to finances to relationships, the more freedom you're going to have down the road.
You are a Jocko.
It strikes me as so problematic that you're including your kids in your content like this. Like family vlogging, this isn't really vlogging, but like having your kids on a podcast like this, no. Hard no. They need to focus on being kids and not being on the set of your talk show at 9 years old. That is no. No, come on.
Well, what I did is when I set up a merch store and also an eBay account. On eBay, I just sell junk that we find around the house or extra things we have. We learn how to list it, sell it, how to name it properly to make it get views. How the merch store works is where
we're not even going to finish this. I can't. This is like, okay, all of these are good skills, right? Being able to name something so it sells, right? Being able to sell things in general, using Canva. Like, these are all good, cool skills to have at any age. But why are we watching this child explain it? It's not right.
The debate last night was interesting. I don't think I learned a lot, but Kamala sure did get under his skin.
Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm speaking.
I think Trump thought he was going into a solo match, even though it was actually trios. Ultimately, I think Kamala came out better than we expected, and Trump should have been better prepared.
Whatever she wants to be is okay with me. She's a Marxist. Everybody knows she's a Marxist. I'm talking now. Does that sound familiar? In other words, we'll execute the baby. I have concepts of a plan. I'm not president right now. In Springfield, they're eating the dogs. The people that came in, they're eating the cats.
Becca Rouse is on the show.
When you wake up every day having a purpose, life is a lot more fun. It's a lot more meaningful.
Benefits and drawbacks of weightlifting at earlier ages.
There are not. That was a myth back in the day.
How do you deal with prevention and recovery?
Sleep, 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 sleep. I can't say it enough.
What's the point of this? Like, why are we okay, so we're biased because if you're part of my audience and you're watching this, you're probably not garnering anything from the videos that we're watching right now. Like, I'm dying to find the people that find this interesting and follow this person and watch all of the videos. Like, I think about my purpose in what I do and how I create content all the time, right? Am I attempting to make people laugh? Am I attempting to have people learn something? What are we getting from this? I don't think anybody's getting anything. I don't think anybody's getting anything from this other than the reinforcement of their discriminatory thinking. I just don't.
I'm going to read off this script right here. I'm a conservative kid that is not intimidated by a bunch of quick trigger emotional response cat and anime profiles that want to hate because they aren't doing anything productive. I'm a conservative kid and I'm going to keep speaking truth and conservative values so we can take this country back for Generation Alpha. How's that for a script?
Okay, well, it was 3 sentences, girl. It was almost like I can feel the subtext of it's like a gotcha moment, right? Yeah, kids can memorize 4 sentences. No. You're exploiting your kids here doing this, because I would stop and watch this because it has more shock value when it's a child doing it. But if this was his dad, for example, I would just quite simply scroll by. But I would stop to hear discrimination from a kid before I would hear discrimination from an adult, because it's just more shocking. So that's why we're here. And that it just really goes to show that it worked. It worked on me. I clicked into this profile when I saw this nonsense on my Reels feed.
I'm a big fan of beer. Root beer.
There's no dyes in our root beer. It's real sugar with as few chemicals as possible. And
see, that's it right there. This is really proving the point that I just made. You're doing this in order to get more likes and views, which again is the point of content creation. Arguably, creativity and self-expression can be another point of content creation, but having the first 3 seconds of "I'm a big fan of beer" coming from obviously a child with a Rode mic, good Lord, that has shock value, and that makes people stop and watch, and that's exploitative in my opinion.
What are the main arguments they have for not wanting to secure the border?
They say it's secure.
What?
Well, we know that's not true.
Yeah, what exactly? What? Yeah, they believe the border is secure.
That's unbelievable.
I mean, it's not a Republican or Democrat ideology. It's like we're Americans. We have a legal system. People have come through that legal system, and it's not fair to them that everyone jumps the line and gets in here. And then we're giving them all benefits. We have our homeless vets and other people that serve this country not getting as many benefits. And you got the criminals as well that are doing some harm in communities. That should be an American ideology of securing our border, keeping our land safe. And it's not happening. They'll never vote to secure it. It's just common sense. We should be doing things that's good for all Americans.
Your kids should not be there. I know I've said that so many times now, but your two little boys should not be in this video. They shouldn't.
Do you remember when Trump was almost assassinated a few weeks ago? Is it just me, or have we not heard much about that?
I keep wanting to come back with arguments on it, and it feels like I'm arguing against a child. And that's a personal value that I have, is that you don't argue with a child, because even if you win, congratulations, you won against a child. But God, the years of therapy these boys are going to hopefully go under after being exploited like this by their dad.
We vote the ticket and we vote early. We have the numbers to win.
Okay.
And we'll win every race. Absolutely, we'll win every race if we do that. Is it the proper role of government? Yes or no? That's how we vote. Is it constitutional? Yes or no? Is it a priority right now? Yes or no? Is it necessary? Does it raise taxes or fees? Quite honestly, less is more.
What's the worst name that you've ever been called?
Communist.
Communist, really?
Communist.
It's like the opposite of what you are.
Okay, kid, explain to me what communism is. Like, again, it's not me coming after these kids because they're not in charge of this situation. They've been indoctrinated into this idea, and they're not operating from a place of logic because their prefrontal cortex is not grown together. In fact, it's not even close. They're at least a decade away from having a brain that's fully developed into that of a mature adult. They're behaving like this because they can clearly see that it pleases their father, and kids want to please their parents. So they're not able to have a nuanced understanding of the things that they're saying. They're just doing it because they know it makes their dad happy. That is so exploitative. Okay, 5 more and we'll wrap this up.
If you don't stand up to bad ideas, they will rule you. And that's essentially what's happening, is our kindness has opened the doors and pushed us back, through kindness and tolerance to a point where we're like, whoa. Okay, now, here's the line. And so then these policies rule us, and now they've taken over media systems, the education systems, and it's been in place for now decades. And so now we have generations of youth that are out there espousing horrible ideas that could destroy the country. Socialism, Marxism, etc. are prime examples that you see a lot of people pushing. But yeah.
Who's watching this? Who is watching this? I don't want to sound rude, but it's just simple-minded people without a developed sense of logic. Sometimes I wish I was more simple-minded because shit like this is just outrageous to me.
Today we're with a person we totally do not know. If you had a superpower, what would it be?
Time travel. I could avoid massive issues and conflicts that come up. World peace, baby.
If you had a superpower, what would it be?
I would probably fly.
Fly? Why?
Because I like birds.
Have you ever been stuck in a bathroom stall without toilet paper?
Oh, yeah.
How did you get out?
A combination of a waddle to the next stall and sat there.
All right.
This is just so sad because these kids just want to spend time with their parent and then they're being forced into social media like this. This is so outrageous. Kate, 4 more?
School they can find at thinkexodus.org. Online, K-12 school that is fully accredited nationally. 0 teachers that are pushing a woke agenda. Plain education without indoctrination. Enrichment program that's taught by me. Getting lessons that counter the left. We put so much trust in putting our children in these schools all day. We have parents that are working. Yeah. Schools turned into a glorified daycare.
Boost inflation, require both parents to be working, nobody's at home, government can raise the child can grow up dependent on the government and believe in everything that they tell them. It's crazy.
Yes, you're right. It's a failing system that is sinking really fast and parents are looking for alternatives. School.
Hey, I'm a university educated teacher, and I'll be the first to say that public education in our province, country, world has an incredible amount of problems within the system, and I do believe it is sinking, and I do think there needs to be an educational reform. However, going to private school and unschooling and all of this is not the answer. 3 more.
Since when does the vice president have what sounds like a southern accent?
Better thank a union member for sick leave. You better thank a union member for paid leave. And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Do you think Americans seriously think that this is an important question? They care, you know what they care about? They care about the economy. They care about lowering costs. They care about health care. That's what Americans care about.
So, is that how she talks in meetings here?
I'm just kidding. Peter, we're moving on.
It is picking on such a small detail. I'm not super versed in American politics or understand the context of which we came before because I just fell out of a coconut tree. But can you imagine having to grasp at straws so small that you're going after the accent of a presidential candidate? It just really shows that you don't have a lot to talk about.
Parents are trading off a lot of priorities for conveniences in terms of what they're feeding their kids, what time they're spending, what fitness things they're doing with their kids, what values they're teaching them, and it's really hard. Parenting's hard right now. Parents are trading off a lot of priorities for conveniences.
Okay.
In terms of Nia on the show.
Who do you think is more crazy, Luna or Candy?
There are teachers that even have gender closets in their classroom.
We are literally in the middle of idiocracy right now.
You are right. Students were being taught about white privilege, pro Black Lives Matter lessons. I exposed these lessons online anonymously and then started getting death threats. Just learn how to do things afraid.
Quote that.
Yeah.
Do it afraid.
Yes, exactly.
Coolest invention in your lifetime.
Air fryer. I love
Would you rather?
We're headed towards some dark times if people don't stand up and do something. Right now, you guys are fighting for your future, and that is so important.
That answered a lot.
Like, nobody should be getting death threats because they're exposing your lesson plans online. I don't agree with the threat of violence against anybody. Baffled. Catch me baffled today. Okay, 2 more.
So today is Labor Day, and for the entire day, we celebrate all of those who work. And then the rest of the year, we celebrate those that don't. Got it. So today is Labor Day, and for the entire
Last
day,
one.
both presidential candidates are trying to buy votes with this policy of no taxation on tips. It is unfair, unwarranted, unexecutable. It's not realistic. Are there any ideas of policies that might help that would be simpler and more productive?
Basically, the thing where I said like $50,000 or more, then you have to pay tips.
You know what some people call this is a flat tax above a certain income range. So, for example, the first $50,000 or $70,000 that anyone makes in the country, you pay no tax on it. Above that amount, everybody pays the same amount of tax. Seems simple, right? Sometimes the simplest answer is the right answer, but when it comes to government, they don't always like the simplest answer.
It's not all bad. There are pieces of this that are good. I think if you have kids, they should be brought into the conversation of how taxes work, how the world works. But that should not be happening on camera for you to monetize. You should not be monetizing your parenting. That just sounds so ridiculous to me that you're sitting down with your kids and teaching them these things on camera. There needs to be policies in place and laws and protections for kids when it comes to content creation and things like this, because I think including your kids in content like this is not only very harmful, but it is exploitative to them because they don't have the understanding of how their digital footprint will carry with them for the rest of their lives. These are going to be 50-year-old men someday that look back on their 9-year-old selves and the podcast videos that they made with their dad. But anyway, ladies, thanks for joining me for this little short video here. I just had to talk about this profile because I find it absolutely ridiculous. I think that you can include your kids in difficult and nuanced conversations, and critical thinking should be something that you're modeling to your children in diverse ways, like this parent is doing, not necessarily in a discriminatory conservative sense, and labeling your children as conservative children, it just like what's the point? To get likes and views, that's the point. I get it. Oh, this one's frustrating. This one is. But anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for sticking around. I really appreciate you being here. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd actually be really interested to know. So let me know what you think down there. If you like the video, like the video. And if you want more from me, you can subscribe to the channel. I have a big playlist of Dismantling Hate videos. This is episode 55, so the playlist will roll here on the end screen and you can go and binge all of those videos. If you want to follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you can do all of that. Thanks for getting all the way to the end. I do really appreciate you, and until the next one, goodbye. And like, it is walking the line of like freedom of speech. You know what? If we're gonna be out here and we're gonna be vulnerable on this channel here together, you and me, right now, right here, yeah. We should really be talking about that, because that's harmful. All right, I'm ready. Are you ready? It's okay if you're not. We'll take a deep breath. It's gonna be okay, because we're gonna do it together. Roll the transphobia.